Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 23 of How to HR. How are you? I'm Kristy-Lee, I'm your host of How to HR, our weekly video series giving you a little snippet of strategy, piece of advice, or something you can really quickly and easily implement when it comes to your team. We all know that we can't build successful businesses that deliver us both all the financial success, but also lifestyle freedom that we seek without having the right team. And How to HR is designed to give you, as I said, a little piece of something each and every week that you can take and implement to help build a stronger team within your business to deliver that success and freedom that you are looking for. Thank you so much for joining me here today. It's great to have you. Now, before we dive in, on any of our How to HR videos, you are very welcome to comment, ask questions, or even leave a note to let me know what you would like me to cover in upcoming episodes as well. So always looking for suggestions, things that perhaps you are stuck on or looking for some advice on. Just pop a comment on one of the videos and I will make sure that we schedule that for one of our upcoming How to HR episodes. Now, for today's How to HR episode number 23, we're talking about how to create learning opportunities at work for our team. And why is this important to do? Now, a recent study that's come out of Swinburne University has told us that our employees are looking to learn on the job. And it's also highlighted the fact that many organisations, in fact, the majority of organisations, are not doing a fabulous job at creating cultures and workplaces and practices that really encourage and enable that for our team. Some of the data that came out of this particular research report were that 3 in 4 employees, and now this is an Australian survey and report, just to be clear, so this is very relevant, very local, and deals with our own local workplaces. So 3 in 4 employees surveyed told us that they want to be learning new skills within the next 12 months. They actively want to learn. 3/4, that's a fairly big number, and this was a really broad cross-section of employees that were interviewed as part of this survey and participated. So we're talking all levels of professions, all different types of employees, and yet 3/4 consistently said they want to be learning a new skill within the workplace in the next 12 months. 3 in 5 of those surveys, now this is really interesting, told us that they don't believe they have the skills to be in the workplace beyond the next 5 years. Now, what does that mean? 3 in 5 of our workers don't believe that they will be able to keep up with the rate of change that goes on in the workplace, that they don't have the skills currently to be an effective workplace participant beyond the next 5 years. Now, that's a really scary stat. If our employees, our workers don't feel competent and confident, imagine the impact that's going to have on their morale, their performance at work, their engagement in the workplace, let alone the fact that they don't have the confidence to do the jobs we're going to need them to do in 5 years. That's going to create a real problem in terms of our workplaces. And we need to be really proactive in bridging this gap that we have between the skills and knowledge and resources that our team have now to what they want to have, to what they're going to need to have to be effective workplace participants into the future. A large problem here is that we haven't kept up. The rate of change in our workplace is not being mirrored by the rate of updating learning and skill acquisition inside our workplaces. We have largely left learning and skill development and acquisition to our employees to do outside of the workplace, either before they come to us or externally of our workplace. And that is simply not going to cut it as we move into the future. The study showed us that 30% of workplaces do not, only 30% of workplaces actually encourage learning of any sort. So the majority are actually not, they're totally discouraging learning in the workplace, which is again counterintuitive to what our employees are telling us they want. And 58% of employees surveyed had done absolutely not 1 single ounce, not 1 hour of formal training at work in the 12 months prior to being surveyed. You can see from this study out of Swinburne that we've got a real gap here. We've got a gap between what our employees need and want, what our organisations need and want, and what we are delivering. It's not going to cut it anymore to treat learning and skill acquisition as an employee's responsibility to do outside of the workplaces. Organisations which are able to attract and retain the best quality talent and keep them and keep developing them over time will win the war on talent when it comes to our workplaces. If you don't want to be having high staff turnover, if you don't want to be dealing with difficulties with finding people, You need to create a workplace that encourages and enables and really treats learning as an important aspect of your workplace fabric. Now, as small businesses, I get it. You don't want to be spending huge amounts of money on this, and nor do you have to. This is not about paying for your employees' university degree that you need them to have before they even get to you. This is not that kind of learning. When we're talking about creating cultures of learning at work, we're talking about any type of skill or knowledge acquisition. It doesn't even need to be formal. There are a whole myriad of ways that you can help your employees learn new skills at work. But what I want to encourage you here on How to HR today is to really consider this part of your responsibility as an employer, as a leader, as someone who wants to attract and retain the best people into your business. It's time for us as businesses to take on some of this responsibility. Not all of it, but certainly to take on some of it. So today I want to share with you 3 really simple ways that you can create learning opportunities for your team at work that are not going to break the bank, they're not going to cost you a fortune. In fact, one of them is totally free, but that will have a huge impact on your ability to deliver this learning that your employees are looking for. So there's 3 simple ways I'm going to share with you today. As a recap, they're going to be knowledge sharing, micro learning, and learning pathways. So let's dive in. Knowledge sharing. Super simple, yet it's happening less and less in workplaces. I was having a conversation with a leadership expert recently, and we acknowledged that this concept of knowledge sharing is just not happening. We're having people leave organizations with so much knowledge inside their brains that is not getting passed on. We're having people at workplaces just not having any kind of way to share knowledge effectively. Now, sure, you're going to have some of your team members that will want to constantly share their knowledge, but there is often a lack of structure around this to really make it impactful at work. So the first strategy I want to suggest to you in creating learning opportunities at work is to create a framework for knowledge sharing. It's free. It's your staff sharing their own knowledge. Now, there's lots of different ways you can do this. A couple of examples for you. You could create a buddy or mentor type system in the workplace, and you rotate that every maybe quarter, 6 months, 12 months, where there is a structure where the buddies or mentors get together perhaps once a week, perhaps once a month, for the specific purpose of sharing knowledge. Now, if you're looking at a mentor relationship, this might be about sharing knowledge, passing the knowledge that someone's gained throughout their career with your business or their career in general down the line. And then you can create a conga line of those kind of relationships. That can work really well. You can also create a really great structure for knowledge sharing within your existing team meeting structure. So you might have a component of your team meeting, or perhaps even a separate meeting every week or month, where someone is responsible for sharing knowledge with the rest of the team, and you rotate that responsibility. So this might be about someone sharing knowledge about a particular software that they're an expert in. It might be about sharing knowledge about a new piece of manufacturing equipment that you've implemented and how it's going to impact the overall workings of the business. It might be sharing knowledge about communication skills. Could be sharing knowledge about customer service skills. These don't have to be formal learnings. This is taking people's key area of expertise and getting them to share that with the rest of the team so that that team then has additional knowledge that they did not have. So you can create this mentor or buddy system. You can create this formal process of presenting to the team once a month or something like that. There are all different ways you can encourage and formalize knowledge sharing in your business. And it's free. So it's a totally easy way to increase the learning potential in your business and give this learning opportunity that your team are craving directly to them. So that's number 1, knowledge sharing. Number 2 is micro learning or micro studies. Now, in case you haven't realized, the online learning space has absolutely gone mental. There is a course or a webinar or a masterclass for absolutely everything these days. Micro studies or micro learning are great because it's little snippets of knowledge that someone is able to obtain, and it can be very specific and very tailored and very targeted. Now, these might be free or very low cost usually, and typically we're talking about very short form. Sometimes it's a course over a period of time, but very light course, not an intense kind of course. Or it might be a 2-hour training session or something like that. Now, this is great in terms of letting employees tap into something that is of interest to them and also ties in nicely to something within the business, perhaps their role, but perhaps not, perhaps something more general about the industry or the business. It is very light on time, and you can actively encourage employees to get involved in this. There are generally these are online delivered programs, so there's no need to be traveling anywhere to attend live in person. They are typically, as I said, either free or low cost, so the investment is small, and you can get some really targeted expertise very, very quickly. So a great example would be a particular software program. Let's say you want to start doing video work with your marketing, and you want to skill up one of your marketing team to be the lead on a particular video creation tool or program. You would be able to find a micro course or program, very low cost on that, and let that person do that course. Low cost to you, skill acquisition for them, ticks all those boxes. Perhaps you've got a need to improve the social media presence in your business, and you want to task one of your administration team for helping you out with that. But that's not their area of expertise, so you'd send them on a micro course. Perhaps you'd get them to purchase a guide or a video series or something like that that's going to help them learn the ins and outs of social media for small business. It could be sending someone on a couple of hour course about communication skills. There's just a gazillion options out there when it comes to micro studies. I think it's a brilliant way to help people learn in very digestible chunks and is super low cost, super low time investment for you as the business. Now, in terms of who pays for this kind of training, there's different methods and models. If you need someone to acquire the skill, then you should be paying for the time and for the attendance and for the course itself. But if this is a skill that they've actively come and said to you, I want to acquire, but it's not necessarily essential for their job, then perhaps they might be paying for the course, but you might be accommodating with their time to attend the training session. So all different models will work. And I think a real hybrid approach of both time and payment between the employee and yourself as the business is a great way to go. So micro studies are my second suggestion. I urge you to be tapping into those whenever you can, because I think they're a great way to get new skills into your business and arm your employees with the knowledge that they are seeking. Now, the third suggestion I have for you today is to create a learning pathway or program. This really taps in for your employees that are particularly keen to really extend their learning experience. This will not be for everyone in your business, but you want to have an opportunity for people to know that if they want to extend their learning journey, that your organization is going to support that and what the process or the pathway is for that. Now, this might be extending learning in a more formal sense. Perhaps they want to do some postgraduate qualifications or a more formalized certification. You want to have a pathway, a process, a program, a policy which they can refer to and know that this is how my organisation supports my learning in this way. So this is a way for people that really want to extend that learning journey to tap into opportunities to learn more. This will not be for everyone. This is for those that are particularly keen and who value learning as really central to their journey in the workplace. Now, with a more formal learning pathway, of course, these are not programs that you might be footing the bill for all the time. Although, again, if it's something you want the employee to acquire, then you certainly would want to be doing that. But this might be a matter of having a structure where there's potentially a equal share payment for the course. Perhaps the employee is paying for the course, but you're being, you're offering time to attend exams or time to do the study or time to attend the program without, them needing to take leave for that. So creating an environment where that employee's learning journey is able to be extended if they want it to, if they want to pursue that in a way that is supported by the organisation, not necessarily paid for by the organisation, but really supported by the organisation. If we can do just those three things in our businesses, we're going to tick all the boxes that we know our employees are looking for when it comes to the thirst for learning that they have. If 3 out of 5 of our employees do not feel they have the skills to be effective in the workplace beyond the next 5 years, where does that leave us? Imagine the knowledge drain that's going to go out of our businesses if these people leave because they don't feel they have the skills for the work. It is up to us. Our workplaces are changing so quickly. It's up to us to skill our staff with the tools, resources, knowledge that they need to do their jobs as their jobs evolve over time. So they're my 3 top tips today in terms of creating learning opportunities for your team at work. Create a formal path, a structure for knowledge sharing, tap into micro studies and micro learning, and create a learning pathway or program for those in your team that really want to extend their learning journey further. That is it for me for How To HR today. I do hope you're able to tap in and trial some of these learning strategies that I'm suggesting. I'll be back next week for How To HR. And as I mentioned, if you have a topic, a question, something you would love me to cover on a future episode, pop a comment below, let me know, and I'll make sure it gets scheduled in for you. Have a fabulous week, and I'll see you for next week's episode.